Did you guys see me? I saw some of you there. I was in Elliot Singh's chat last night and he was talking about Doothy. And then FD Signifier made a video too. Oh, FD Signifier made a video too. So here I am. I'm in Elliot's chat. FD's making a video. My Discord talked about Doothy's video. I watched Doothy's video on my own and I just thought to myself, okay, yeah, it's pretty good. Who is Doothy? So FD has a stream channel and he wrote that YouTube has always been slop. And I want to use his video, sections of it, to have this conversation, and I'm going to bounce between people, okay? Check this out.
You open up YouTube recommendations to find something to watch with your meal.
That's Doothy. Look, that's Doothy. And she put together this set all by herself. Hold on, let me move my video so you can actually see her. She really like made an effort on this video.
Recommendations are...
I think, is Doothy a they, them, or is she, her? I think it might be a she, her. It might be a they, them. Let me know.
About the same topic.
The performative main character syndromification
And they made all these puppets. Doothy made all these puppets.
of macho men's male gaze. Weaponized media literacy, much anyone?
Guys, it's the AI fruits. We're gonna laugh at them and talk about how bad they are. Take that, AI.
It feels, dare I say, corporate.
And that's why capitalism is not good. Anyway, today's sponsor is a scented water bottle subscription service.
So join me as I break down the slow, painful decline of commentary YouTube and deep dive this era I call There's Nothing Left to Say, Please Shut Up, Oh God, Shut Up, It Hurts.
First off, big props.
Okay, pause. First, I just want to comment on some stuff. Okay, first, hold on. My tech is really failing me at this moment, and I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna cry. Okay, first, I just want to say I am a YouTuber, and I do make money doing this, and I try to do it in the most ethical way possible. I do currently have like 20 different sponsor emails in my inbox offering me like $300 to do paid posts or $1,000 to do paid posts or whatever, insert money here to pay posts. And I don't know how to engage with any of that, honestly, because I don't know. A part of me is like, I don't need money that bad. And a part of me is like, damn, I'd really like that money. But also a part of me is like, I don't know. I just don't feel comfortable. And a part of me is like, I'm waiting for the right sponsorship. Okay. Maybe I'll hold out. And if I ever grow really big, I'll wait for the big bucks. But like, I don't know. I'm just like, I don't know, you know what I mean? I'm not going to sell my soul for $300 or $1,000 or even $5,000. Like, come on now. But it's one of those things where I see creatives all the time on this internet talk about how they make money and talk about how hard it is, which is true. Like any job, it's hard unless you're very, very popular or you can guarantee a certain amount of income and viewership every time, which is a part of this larger conversation. So what happens is, as we reviewed the Met Gala just a second ago, in that same Met Gala event, there will be billionaires and there will be people with $2,000 in their bank account who just happen to be able to be there. And so same thing with YouTube, same thing with any job. You can all work at Amazon and there'll be people making $500,000 a year and $15 an hour. You can all be YouTubers where some people make $20,000 to $10,000 and some people make $1 million to $34 million, right? We all make money differently. But the irony is that the audience is ultimately the most responsible for whether or not people get popular, which plays into what this video is, this whole topic is. Because this is a conversation around slop being more popular than well thought out content. It's not just how much goes into content, it's about the commentary of the content, right? It is true, there does seem to be a trajectory of success that the more serious you are and the more complicated it is, the less views you'll get. The more challenging it is to the audience, the less views you'll get. Now, let's also eradicate from this conversation everyone who just makes really bad content. Okay, let's assume even the people that are making less views or less money are making really good content. It's just the audience doesn't want it. This is where capitalism will say, right? Like, the market's the market. The market decides. And they say, you decide. But you'll say, no, it's the algorithm. The algorithm is deciding for me. But it's kind of a give or take. Sort of is the algorithm, but yet it's also you not clicking on the video or you not engaging with the topic or you not being interested, because you have to be interested, because companies don't care. They just want to know what you want to see. And if they can get you to like it, they will. And ultimately, we are the most drawn to, apparently, negativity, things that make us argue, and honestly, like eating disorders, whether it's gym talk or skinny talk. We love to see body transformations. We want to know about your mental health, how much money you make, and what you look like, right? So if it isn't pertaining to those three things in a superficial way, nobody cares. And of course, we like to make fun of people, which plays into this commentary stuff that we're going to talk about today. And this isn't coming from some moral hierarchy. Like, I'm not trying to make fun of people or say like, oh, you're not making good content. On the contrary, I love slop content. I have such a love for slop content that I am one of those people. I just also watch all the other people, right? Okay, so keep that in mind as we go through this, that this is a battle of, okay, people who make content but exist in different places on that same, in that same arena, which FD is about to acknowledge himself. Okay, here we go.
To just the intro, puppets and clocking the commentary language mumbo jumbo. So intro eight, right?
Really sitting down and listening to what the creator is saying, you realize they aren't really saying anything. I want to highlight a video that I think is a good example of this. And the reason I chose this video is not to drag this creator specifically, but it's because he said something really interesting twice throughout the video. Breaking the fourth wall, he says,
And since I still have to burn at least 5 more minutes in this video, let's go deeper. Let's trace the origins of this contagion. For no other reason than I need to stretch this video out for watch time.
but instead of going deeper, he just shows random TikToks about white tank tops. Now, this creator is what I like to call the surface skimmer.
Oh, he responded. Let me see. I kind of want to see
so
this.
a couple times while I was making my YouTube commentary meta video, an even more meta video came out.
We watched Mark for the first time like a month ago or so. So we've only, on stream, I think I've only seen one of his videos.
Talking about
And it was fun. It was like goofy. It was about Love is Blind, I think. And it was like, right, that's the same guy. It was goofy. It was fun. But it was like Cody Co content. That's what I call it. Chat also love Chat. I only watch Chat twice a year, maybe though. Just disclaimer. Cody Co I don't watch anymore, obviously, after everything came out with Tana Mojo. But I call it like kind of like turn my brain off content, where I love it. I love commentary. I used to watch H3 for the same reason. It was like turn my brain off content. Frenemies was like my turn my brain off content. And I realized through this discourse, one of the things that I think is happening is that people don't want to be known as the turn my brain off content. But at least you get views and you're very popular. Like, you make a lot of money compared to somebody like me who's always like, Brittany, your stream always makes me think. It's always so hard for me. Oh my God, Brittany, like your content's a lot. Sometimes it's too much for me. Yeah, but at least I'm lucky enough to make a living. I don't make as much as these people, obviously, but I make a living talking about like pretty intense stuff. I agree. But yet, I also like their content. Like, I like Chat's content. But again, maybe it would be different if I watched her all the time, which I can't all the time, but I do like her. You know what I mean? If I see it and I'm in the mood, I'll watch her. So that's the thing, is like, what is the show? What is the thing we watch to turn off our brain? It's hard because, you know, everything comes back to philosophy for me. But this is what I'm trying to say. Like, I think these people are probably offended that Doothy said that your commentary is bad. But isn't she right? Because isn't it supposed to be turn your brain off content? It's kind of supposed to be bad. It's supposed to be basic. Like, don't be mean to each other. And everyone's like, yes. You know what I mean? You ate with that. You know what I mean? Like, it's supposed to be like, you know, it's supposed to be that. Like, you say the most basic shit and people go, oh my God. You know, that's the point of it. That's why Ethan from H3, I think, was so shocked when his audience turned on him. Because while he was saying basic shit that we all were like, yeah. And then when he stopped doing it, we were like, what are you doing? He's like, wait, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Like, Ethan got popular for agreeing with Hassan and or saying, yes, gay people, yes, this minority person, yes, this, you know what I mean? Okay.
Me and other commentary creators. So no bullshit. I'm just gonna get straight to the point. This video is weak. Like, really weak. And I'm not just saying that because 20% of the video is criticizing me.
I'm re-uploading this video that I spent 8 months on to implore you, the viewer, to watch this and form your own opinion. Was I too harsh, or a commentary YouTuber scared that people are waking up to slob content?
Okay, so this is a purposeful misrepresentation of the facts, and Doothy knows it. She somewhat clarifies herself in a pinned comment, believes in the fact that she was fundamentally scared into compliance by this apparent group chat of rich and powerful commentators. The reality is that her original video was a collaboration with another YouTube commentary creator, Saji Sharma, who also promoted the video himself on his own YouTube channel and Instagram. Saji, who is a friend of Doothy, is also in a group chat with
Wait, am I getting drama pilled? The tea's getting hot.
some of whom were understandably taken aback by him participating in and promoting a YouTube video thumbnail depicting some of them and or their friends.
Hold on. Let's look at this thumbnail because I actually think it's a pretty good thumbnail. So Chad, who we like, but yes, makes turn your brain off content. Curtis Connor, I agree, makes the same kind of content. What's his name? Hold on, don't tell me. Film Cooper, I never liked Film Cooper though. Can I just say this? I told you guys when I reviewed Film Cooper over a year ago, trust me, he's not a real one. You give in to these boys so quickly. These boys say one fucking thing that sounds leftist and everyone's like, oh, and Stop giving all these men social credit for being anti-rape. You know what I mean? Like, Jesus Christ. So I told you I did not like Film Cooper. Okay, Jarvis, I can't get into Jarvis's content, but I've heard good things about him. Same with Curtis Connor. I don't like their content. I like Chad Chad. And even Chad Chad, I only watch twice a year. But those other boys, I just don't. I'm sure they're nice, but I just don't think they think about anything. You know what I mean? I just feel like they're not thinking. And that's their content. Their content is, I say basic nice shit and people love it, and that's it. And that's fine. And that's fine. I think they don't like that. I think they're probably upset that they make superficial content. But don't, because we need it in our life too. I need something to watch when I'm eating. You know what I mean?
Friends as clown marionettes whose strings, I guess, are being pulled by big commentary with the words "shut up" above. I'm not in that group chat, by the way. I guess I don't have enough juice, to get into the commentary Illuminati, but that's okay. But it's not an Illuminati. It's a group chat of people who are peers and friends.
Yeah, it is an Illuminati. I'm not in that group chat. I don't know none of these motherfuckers. I'm gonna let them cook, and then I'm gonna give my personal opinion. But first, I'm gonna let them cook. And one thing I want to say is, it is an Illuminati. It's not Illuminati like on some secret society shit, but like being in those and being like connected to these other large creators does create consolidation of power. Maybe. I mean, generally speaking, that's just what happens with clout. I'm in multiple group chats. I'm in group chats with all the OG cornbread motherfuckers. I'm in group chats with just homies that I like. I'm in group chats with Nebula group chats, which connected me to other big YouTuber group chats, OG breads. I'm in a lot of group chats. Right? And for the most part, I don't see nothing crazy, but I also don't be in there. But to act like the group chats are benign, perfect example. Remember when the dislike bar disappeared? I saw that coming. I knew it was gonna happen, and I'm not gonna front. I was like, yeah, that's a good idea. And it's only used to harass and harangue minority and marginalized creators. And I'm not gonna name names, but some of your favorite big YouTubers were very much against this shit with all kinds of whack-ass arguments on some libertarian bullshit. So on the flip side, right, I'm in community with creators where another community of creators I'm in, they don't fuck with each other. Bellamy knows what I'm talking about. And this is like various different angles, right? There's people I like that people I also like don't like them people. And I think that's good. The people I still fuck with have never came to me like, why do you fuck with X? And people I don't fuck with no more in prior times consistently been like, stop fucking with X. X is this, X is that. You can't fuck with X, Y, and Z. And it wasn't Hassan. Hassan is never, I fuck with a lot of people that cannot stand Hassan. That's why I get tired of talking about that motherfucker. Cause like people be coming to me like I'm Hassan's manager. I text with Hassan once every couple of months. I go on that motherfucking stream once a year, maybe. And niggas act like I'm Hassan's handler. Like, unless it's like some super problematic shit or it's deeply personal, this should not have caused a problem. Especially from a small creator. It'd be different if like I knew Lindsay Ellis was about to drop the big H-Bomber guy is bad and here's why video, right? When it's like big audience drama, some shit, then I'd be like,
hey, y'all might need to think that through. Y'all talk it out, whatever, Lord.
Because that does mean something, right? H-Bomb ended a nigga's career on the timeline. You know what I'm saying? No, I'm not saying small creators can't beef. I'm saying big creators should never beef with small creators, especially behind the scene. They definitely shouldn't pull shit like this. What's considered small, middle, and big? So small is anything under 100K. You're small. No shade. No shade.
I agree.
But if you're under 100K, you're small.
Yeah, I agree.
Medium-sized creator is like 300K to like, well, 100 to 300K is medium size, and large is like 500K and above. And then there's like the super giants. I don't even know, like, I don't know, fucking
like Penguin Zero as like
Mr. Beast or some shit.
Yeah, like
but
20 million subs,
them.
20 million subs, 100 million subs, like girlies, come on.
Right. If you're a large creator and a small creator throws rocks at the throne, you got to take that shit on the chin. Not just on some moral shit, on some like, to me, that's just cold shit. You got to take that on the chin for the good of your own channel, for the good of your own actual work. Because the truth of the matter is, small creators critiquing you is not going to affect you. And the minute you say something back to them, it actually helps them out. If you want to like squash beef and talk to a person privately, I'm not going to tell people not to do that. I've done that. But if you're privately trying to squash a small...
Here's the problem. I agree with all of this. I think there's a lot of stuff happening behind the closed door that I want people to pay attention to, which is like, especially if you say you're on the left, right? Doothy's video, you can criticize it, but generally if you watched it, it's a pretty good commentary about these channels because again, okay, because listen, and I will say this, as a person who isn't as big as these creators, I should be, but I'm not. Because my content is literally less digestible to people. It just is. And I know that, and I still make a full-time living doing this, but it is literally less digestible. If I talk to a marketing team right now, they'd say, Brittany, you're too controversial. You're not digestible enough. The vocabulary is too intense. You're using words people don't use in their vocabulary. You need to make it lighter, more digestible. And I would say, I can't. Like it would make me feel bad. Like it would, I don't know if it's just because I'm autistic too, but like I would feel bad. Obviously, these people don't feel bad, right? Like, look, do you think I don't want to turn around and be a successful, fun commentary channel that gets 100,000 views every fucking video? That's like $500 to $1,000 a video. You know what I'm saying? You think I don't want to do that? It just feels bad. You know what I mean? It just kind of feels icky. Okay, now some people do it as successfully, but even so, like even the YouTubers I watch whose commentary can be pretty like intense, it is generally much more digestible. I mean, look at us talking about veganism for 2 days, and I've had to repeat 1,000 times that plant-based is not veganism. Most creators would never have spent this much time on it. Most creators wouldn't have even talked about it this way. They would have made a funny joke and moved on. But this is why I do philosophy, because I want to talk about the differences. And I want to, I want you to know I'm annoyed with you for not understanding there's a difference when I've told you there's a difference. So I need you to go, oh, there's a difference. Let me figure it out. If I told you there's a difference between a Toyota and a BMW and you're like, but like, what's the difference? They're both cars. There's a difference. Okay. So when we have these conversations, but that's where I get excited. So I've been waiting. You know what's so funny? I have been waiting for someone to critique my work. Somebody I respect. Because usually when these small channels and these boys especially critique my work, they don't even understand it. That's why it's not fun. If Doothy like critiqued my work the way she would critique their work, I think it'd be so exciting. The difference is they don't want to be critiqued because they're not actually trying to be better. They're not actually trying to do something here. They're actually just trying to have fun and make a paycheck, right? So Elliot Singh talked about this on their stream. Let me go to his stream. Hold on. Look at this part of it about criticism, okay?
First, though, fundamentally, the big problem is there's a lack of self-critique, right? It's like what I said in the intro. People are very used to criticizing other things because that's safe, because that's fun, and because social media incentivizes that. So when I think about the bad thing, I'm thinking about somebody else doing it. But when you really care about solving the problem, when you really care about ending the bad thing, that's when you're in a process of thinking about yourself doing it. Does that make sense? I have talked about this before. I think it's a fundamental problem that we're all having right now where we don't want to criticize ourselves. We're always the person that needs to get less attention on them. We don't want to be shamed. We don't want to be criticized too much. We say we're open to criticism, but then we don't follow through on that. We lack the gumption to sit through a criticism that makes us feel uncomfortable.
Okay, so you know how in Doothy's video, she says like, she's like a puppet. And she's like, capitalism is evil. And oh my gosh, also buy my subscription. This happened with why am I forgetting Michael's name? Am I having a stroke? Michael Burns. Michael Burns made this video about getting outside and touching grass and being an anti-capitalist. And then it ended up being a sponsored video. And it felt so fucking weird where I was like, Michael! And like, it's stuff like that. And at the same time, and this is very interesting to me, at the same time, is it okay to put ads on a video about Palestine? Because the truth is, you're not going to get monetized for it. But then if creators aren't going to get monetized, they really can't afford to talk about it. So if they can't find a way to supplement when they talk about Palestine, then they're never going to talk about it because we don't make enough money to talk about Palestine, right? Like every time I show news from Palestine, every time I show news from Lebanon, guys, I make no money. I need you to understand that. And I don't make enough money to do this all the time. So every time I do a stream about Lebanon or Palestine or something in Sudan, something happening, I have to talk to my partner about it. And I have to say like, hey, we're going to have less money this week. And like, that is as a small creator or like now a newly mid-sized creator, I guess, it's like, that's the part that's like this. It's like, uh-oh. And like, again, everyone lives on a different budget. Everyone has different needs. Everyone lives in a different country. But like most of us are not making 6 figures. Okay. So when we have this conversation, you know, it would be very different. If I was making like a secure 6 figures a year, I wouldn't even think about it. Fuck yeah. I'll talk about Palestine once a week, baby, twice a week. You know what I mean? But the dilemma is, okay, is that's not the case. And then remember, the money we make on YouTube isn't taxed. So when you give a super chat, I have to take tax out for that. So if you give me a $30 super chat, okay, YouTube takes their cut automatically, and then I have to pay tax on whatever my cut is. So it's not like, oh, we're just making money, you know, like Asmund was bragging on a finance show, Caleb's finance show, about how much he paid in taxes. He paid $4 million in taxes. That means he made between 10 and maybe 15 million. No one is making that money except the big guys. Okay? So I need you to understand that. That is not my experience. Okay? I do not owe the tax man millions of dollars. Okay? So these other streamers that are misunderstanding their place are also forgetting that they make a lot more money. So let me show you this just for context. Okay? Let me go to Chat since I know her channel the best. Okay, just for context, okay, Chat has 3 million subscribers. And Chat got 2 million views on this video. She probably made $20,000 on AdSense alone. Could have been less though. And two months before that, and 2 months, look at 1 million views, 4 million views, 5 million views. You can assume that on a 1 million view video, you're making between 6 and 10K. Okay? So that's just on AdSense, let alone if she's putting ads or getting sponsorships or wherever she's bringing in extra money, memberships. Okay? That is very different than even like your subscriber count to your view count, because that also matters. You can have a big number and no one watching, right? So when these creators sit there and go, hey, like, why are you talking about my content? Now, Mark was different. Mark's a smaller channel. Mark, does anybody know Mark's name? Uh-oh. Let's see. Why did everybody come up except for Mark's actual channel? What is Mark's name? Trying to figure out, because I think Mark has a much smaller channel. Damn, talk about not knowing somebody. Mark Ensinco? Mark Unserious. Okay. So Mark has 169,000 subscribers, so not a very big channel at all. But let's look at his views. Okay, great views though. Killer views, bro. And the last 2 months, he's definitely made it probably at least $10,000. Like, he probably made let's say he made 2,000, 1,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, 6,000, 7,000, 8,000. Let's say he's at least made $8,000 in the last 2 months. I guarantee you, by the way, that is like very minimal. Like that is very, I think, conservative. Okay, that's not bad, right? But he's definitely probably making more than that. He's probably made more than that in the last 2 months. That's just AdSense, by the way. That's not memberships. It's not sponsorships. And that is a very conservative guesstimation. So when he says to a creator who has like 8,000 subscribers, who's worked 8 months on a single video when he pumps out videos all the time, right? That is a very different, thing that's happening. You guys know I had a run-in with Lindsay Ellis and Natalie Wynn years and years ago, where behind the scenes, they talked badly about me, a much smaller and inconsequential creator that was only brought into the scene because Natalie invited me. I wouldn't have been there if Natalie didn't invite me, right? And then they tried to, behind the scenes, cause problems. And it was very hard at the time. I'm a much older person now. We're much older now. But the fact is like, this happens and it will happen forever. because people are not working on themselves. They're not wanting to be critiqued. They're also not wanting to even be responsible for the way that they show up. Okay? So this is the problem with this whole scene. I mean, look what happened with Destiny a couple years ago. I said on stream, do not take advice from him. He's a serial cheater and he's a bad parent. And he decided to send his community after me for 2 years. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't even say the thing that's true. Can I not just say the thing that's true? If you want to disagree with me, we can talk about it. But from my observation, this is what I'm saying. Now, after Elliot is done speaking, I'm going to show you a scene where FD was recently criticized by a small creator, and FD responded very well to the criticism, okay?
The ability to sit with discomfort. And if you can't sit with discomfort, you cannot create. You cannot create because creation is dialectics, it's conflict, it's contradiction. You have to put yourself in difficult situations sometimes. You have to sit with difficult feelings so that you can write about them.
And also the fact that Mark, I'll show you clips probably. When Mark, I say probably because I have a lot of clips to show you, but Mark did this thing where he was like, Doothy's community was bothering Chad. First of all, don't do that. And second of all, do you think Doothy has a community with 8,000 subs? Or do you think haters from your own communities were finally happy somebody was saying something and they decided to bombard Chad and everybody else? And yes, Doothy should do something about that. Like, that's why I say, do not bother other people on other people's channels. If you have something dramatic to say it on my channel in my comment section. Don't go to other people's comment sections about the people I talk about.
That you can talk about them, so that you can reflect and learn things from them. Somebody who has just not felt any discomfort, they're not going to have anything to say. And a lot of you are feeling that discomfort, but you're trying to avoid it. And so you have the lived experience of somebody who goes through a lot of discomfort, but you don't have any of the reflections of somebody who's been through it because you're avoiding even talking about it. Kavisha, I agree with the lack of self-critique. When I talk to people, I notice a lot of people understand how they are being wronged, but very few of us understand how we might be wronging someone. And without this good self-critique, not only do we act like this in society, but then our creations tend to suck.
And this is how you get the Met Gala. This is how you get billionaires. This is how exploitation happens to us. Like, again, we are all responsible for the way that the world is. So we are responsible for how we allow exploitation to happen to us, and we are victims of exploitation. It's not about victim blaming. It's about, as adults, taking responsibility and not saying, well, I'm just going to engage in bad because the whole world is ending anyways. You can't say that and say I'm being exploited. You are being exploited, and now you're not doing anything about it. So that's why I think like this move for class consciousness, like though it has good intentions, can happen in a bigoted, like non-introspective world. Like, it took so long for just individuals to get there. Now imagine getting the collective to get there. Okay. So I agree. We are all being exploited, and the billionaires exploit your vulnerabilities. Like your desire to want your Uber Eats, like your desire for convenience allows the exploitation. And then you go out of sight, out of mind. I don't care how my actions are hurting other people. I don't care how my actions are hurting the planet. I don't care how my actions are doing this. Because look, the billionaires are destroying the planet over here. Yeah, but how do they become billionaires? Partially our participation. And it's not just leftists, by the way. I'm not criticizing leftists. I mean, 90% of guys, if you're a leftist, you're a minority. The criticism is for the majority: centrists, liberals, Republicans, Democrats, people who are engaging in some myth that they're going to make capitalism work for their family and it's going to liberate them out of, poverty or something, right? Having kids just so they can make money for your family. Having children you name Junior. Having daughters you expect to get pregnant and married. Like, of course the system is exploiting you. You buy into it every day. And I'm saying I've been there. I'm doing it now probably in many ways I haven't thought about yet. But we're always participants in how the world is. It cannot happen without all of us participating.
You have to deconstruct your own socialization. And you have to build out your philosophy. Simone Weil talks about philosophy as a thing that you live. Your lived experience is your philosophy.
Philosophy is something you live. Exactly. Veganism is a philosophy. That's why I'm not a vegan yet, because I don't live it philosophically, even though I'm plant-based, right? But philosophy, okay, it's it lived. You live your philosophy. That's what I'm trying to do every day. Okay, I'm trying to live my philosophy. I'm embodying it. I'm not just saying it and pretending. It's something that that's why I try to be honest with, oh, I'm not there yet. I'm not where that is. I'm not there. Okay, which is very important because it's all about stepping stones. FD talks about this in the same video where he says, like, I love when people grow past my content. Don't I say this all the time in my content? I am so happy when my content isn't where you need it to be. I cannot wait for you to grow past it or grow with me wherever your journey is, right? But there's nothing wrong with growing past content creators. And that's what I think. That's why, guys, I think ultimately there's no humility here. Those original content creators that are upset with Doothy's video, it's their ego. FD, grow past me. Brittany Simon, grow past me. Elliot saying, all of us would say, grow past the content. Only these creators are upset they're losing subscribers and they're upset about a video. Your ego's in the way, Habibi. I'm sure you're not bad people, but your ego's in the way.
You can't just have ideas because you're sitting in a room having ideas and you never experience discomfort in that process. You go to the factory and you work among other factory workers, and then you have better thoughts about how factory life is and about the working condition of the average person. Yeah, you got to work on your arrogance presentation and not hurting others like Diara is working on. Danelle says, I think it's also a result of the self-care movement, i.e. I don't owe anyone anything. Yeah, that's connected. I think that's related and connected, and I think in some places it's a result of that. We are all doing this Western thing of trying to figure out how to avoid as much discomfort as possible. We think that good living and better world is something that comes about from eliminating as much discomfort as possible. You know, how do I get everything that I want without suffering? You know? And it's like, this is not...
And that's why I say unwise suffering is the key. The goal is not to eradicate suffering. The goal is to suffer wisely. The problem with the world is we are so unnecessarily suffering, and it's coming at the expense of ourselves and others.
To sound like some sort of arch conservative who's like, people just don't work hard enough.
Right,
but when it comes to your intellect, your ability to produce things of worth, your ability to do things that matter to you, that's going to mean sitting with some uncomfortable feelings. And
okay, this plays into, I'm going to skip around for a second. This, I know this sounds crazy, but this plays into this video that's been going viral lately. Just stay with me for 2 seconds. Oops, hello?
At universities all around the country, professors are reporting a problem. Students can't read books. This is true even at elite colleges and universities. In one required class at Columbia, students are often expected to read about a book a week. But in the past couple of years, students have started telling their professors that they can't do it. One student told her professor that she had never been required to read an entire book. This is part of a larger trend. People aren't reading anymore. This is true for men and women, people who went to college and people who didn't. So what's going on? Well, it turns out that there are many pieces to this puzzle, but it all begins with how we teach kids to read.
Okay, pause. This is an interesting video, okay? And I think we should finish it by the end of stream. But what I want you to focus on is that girl, I wish I pulled up her video on time. This girl on TikTok was talking about how people were doubting she was reading a book a week. But to me, and of a lot of us who have read that, we're like, that's easy. Like a book a week? That's easy. Like, why are people saying that it's hard? And because what they're having is like a very different experience with what reading looks like. Oh, I can't remember the original TikToker. But when people started to doubt her, what they were doubting was, they doubt her the way they doubt me when I say I'm on TikTok all day and I don't have a problem. Because I forget my brain and her brain and our brains, we're not having the same relationship with content. Like, I don't know if this is my autism or my brain, but I said this the other day in stream. Sometimes I feel like a fraud when I know I'm diagnosed autistic and diagnosed fibromyalgia and I'm diagnosed. But then sometimes I feel like a fraud because I'm able to do things that other people tell me they're unable to do because of the same thing I'm suffering from. But what they're really saying is, I'm sure there's a deeper reason for why this is happening to me, but it seems to be my relationship with this thing that's causing this issue. So I can't do it, so I don't believe you can do it. And I'm sitting here going like, but if I can do it, does that mean I'm not sick? Does that mean I don't have a disability? Does that mean I don't have problems? Or what does that mean, right? I also think this coincides with people going to college just to get a job instead of people going to college to learn, or people honing in a craft to actually be good at it, not people who are trying to get rich off their craft. when I was younger, my parents were really positive and encouraging. When I would make scarves, like my bestie taught me how to make scarves, crochet, and we would just make scarves for each other and have so much fun. And then eventually my mom was like, oh my God, you should sell those. So I got it into my head that I should sell them. And then my parents would overpay me for the scarves. They would pay me too much, like way more than the scarf was worth, right? And I wasn't even that good at it to make that kind of money. I wasn't. And then what that fed me was an assumption. What my parents thought they were helping me, they were actually setting up the wrong expectation. The expectation that I could produce at any age a basic product and just assume I would make a lot of money from it. Instead of saying, when you've perfected this, when you've gotten more professional at it, when you've gotten better at it, you could make a business on it. And I think though they had good intentions, what I had to learn was I needed to deconstruct that concept that I was good enough because I made it. Same with YouTube videos. My videos will hopefully get better as I age. My content has gotten better over the years, right? Like, yes, some people make some of the shittiest content you've ever seen and they go viral, and who knows why that is. Some people make the most high-tech, amazing content and they never get views. It's not about that. But it is about understanding that YouTube videos are not just about making content. They're about thumbnails and titles and topics and algorithms. Being a good YouTuber is also about being good at the algorithm. And I am a pretty bad YouTuber still, as you can tell by my view count. I'm still very bad at playing to thumbnails and titles. I've just always been bad at it. And it's because my brain doesn't know, and this goes back to the content we're talking about here, it doesn't quite know what is the thing that I could make every day for 20 years that's cookie cutter and make me views, like Cody Ko. Elliot Singh talked about how Cody Ko figured out an algorithmic consistency that benefited Cody, got him a house, 2 houses, basically paid his life wages because people loved the consistency. That's usually what makes people popular. Any change to it really fucks with people. Okay. I haven't figured it out yet, but one day I will, right? So watch this section here, but that is a part of the job. Now, the way that I get my artistic kind of buttons pressed is I create things that I know won't hit and I accept it. Like I made a vegan commentary video for my Bert Simon channel and I knew it probably wasn't going to hit and it hasn't. I think it reached like 7K views. And it's just like, I knew that was going to happen. And that's a financial hit that I take. But I also prefer to give myself one video that really feels like it's for me 100% versus like for the algorithm. And yet, this is why I say being an artist is such a privilege. And yet it's very, very hard, which is why I tell you, do not tell your kids you can be YouTubers easy. It's not easy. Okay, it's very hard. But it's also as hard as any other job is because all jobs are hard. Labor is hard. This is why women eventually get told being a mom isn't hard. As if making and pushing a baby out of your body isn't hard. As if taking care of and nursing and cleaning after a baby isn't hard. This is the problem with humanity is we're always comparing. So we do this thing instead of saying like, why aren't I as famous as this person? Or why isn't my heart as... Ask yourself for yourself how it is. The reason I'm a full-time YouTuber now versus before is I don't compare myself to others anymore. Like I see it from a very analytical, logical lens, but I don't compare my humanity to other people. I don't think Cody Ko's a better person than me because he's more popular. I don't think Cody Ko's a better YouTuber because he makes more views than me. Cody Ko's a bad person. You know what I mean? So sometimes the most popular and famous people are some of the worst people you know. Going back to the Met Gala, we look at the Met Gala and we think to ourselves, oh my God, they're so pretty. They must be good people. I want that. What did they have to do to get there? What did they have to do to get there? Okay. And I'm saying a lot of us are playing a game that's trying to make a living without having to do what they did. We'll never be as famous. We'll never be as rich, but at least we can pay our rent. Look at this.
Because he presented himself as relatable. Because
this is the Cody Ko section.
Platformed huge and heavy because he presented himself as relatable, because a lot of the videos were funny. You know, there are a lot of like big funny videos, in part because of the co-star, really. And because of that, he basically just created a gold-plated bed for himself to lay in forever. You know, he has a huge amount of support still, even having like taken a huge public image L and lost a lot of fans. Because so many people take that time to just elevate somebody who just seems like they don't hate women, and they're kind of funny, and they're not averse to having more than one thought in their head at a time. Crimes New Roman gets at the...
And this is the thing, like, but this is the thing. It's not the algorithm. It's not the systems. It is you. This is why philosophy is so hard, because it is you, right? Like, it's you. You won't click on the thumbnail. You won't watch the videos. You don't like the titles. You can blame the companies all you want, but the way the algorithm works, guys, is the algorithm gives people interested in this sphere the content. Okay, I'll give you an example of how it works, because I promise you, I know you don't know how it works, so you don't get it. But okay, here's you. This is how the YouTube algorithm works. This is you. When you watch a video, it's connected to a bubble, and that bubble is connected to these bubbles. And this bubble is connected to this bubble, okay? And this connected is here, and this is here. And YouTube goes, okay, show them this content. Okay, that's it. And then if you go, actually, I'd like to watch this bubble over here. Now YouTube goes, okay, scratch this. They don't like this anymore. They want this. And then this. And then, oh, this content. Okay. And I'm saying you get to decide what content you watch, because YouTube wants to give you what you want to watch. And so if you pay attention to certain topics of the internet, if you're in one niche of the internet, YouTube shows you every community connected to that niche. But you don't have to be directly in the niche to be recommended the videos, because the niche is connected to your niche. Like, if you're only watching food videos, they might show you gym videos related to food recipes or vegan videos related to food and consumption. But they're not going to show you rollerblading fashion trends from the 70s. Because food TikTok or food YouTube has nothing to do with fashion trends from the 70s. But if you're into holistic food gardening from in vintage ways, now you might get some rollerblade fashion from the 70s. Okay? So what I'm saying is, these people sit in offices every day and find ways to exploit your algorithmic brain, because our brains are pattern recognizing brains. Okay? That's what we like. And it goes, oh, I know this thumbnail style. I'll click on this thumbnail style because I know what to expect now. When I change my thumbnails, it changes the type of person who watches my content. You say it doesn't matter, but the views are the views. The proof is in the pudding. That's the problem. We say we're pro-life, but we're supporting a genocide. We say we care about babies, but we only care about fetuses. We say we care. All of us are complicit. Okay? We say we care about ocean animals, but we litter. We say this, we say this, we say this. The point is, you have to contend with the reality that the world is the way that it's supposed to be, because it's exactly how we want it to be. We want the world to be like this, and we're just not ready to admit it. Just like you want to eat meat, you just want to say it's for other reasons, but you want to eat meat, and that's okay. Say you want to eat meat. Or, loophole, you're actually in a very difficult decision, like positioning, and you actually do want the world to be different, but you're doing the best you can and you've done your work, right? Okay. But generally, you can't say if you are the exception to this rule, then none of this should offend you. If you've already known this, nothing I should say should matter to you. Generally, though, it can't be true. Generally, 90% of the population has got to be operating just like I used to be, just like you used to be, because it is the way the world is. The world can't be mostly like us and then mostly like this, because we don't do this. My daily life does not engage in the world in the way that these people are engaging with the world. I'm not a part of some YouTube group thread where I'm talking about smaller creators. So there's no video that's ever going to be made about Brittany Simons in this group thread. I'm not in any group thread. So there can't be a video like that. Do you know what I'm saying? So for the fact that there is a group thread that is making fun of Doothy's videos, that is talking smack, means you would have to be people in a group thread having the conversations. That's what I'm saying, right? Okay, go back to FD now. Now we're swinging back.
a creator on some kingpin shit, I think that's whack. But I'm just saying, I think it's whack. If you are behind the scenes and you're a larger creator and a smaller creator says something about you that you don't like and it's true, then I can't fuck with that. But I just want to point out the Illuminati shit is real.
That you've set loose on them. I have people in my community posts telling me to drop the group chat name. I've lost hundreds of subscribers. I'm sure the people who are actually in this thumbnail and who have much larger fan bases are dealing with an even more unhinged reaction. Doothy, your now sizable fan base is all asking you to name names.
Okay, Doothy's fan base? Like, am I crazy? Hold on. Did I not just see Doothy's fan base being 8K? Maybe I'm wrong. Hold on. My bad, Doothy, if I just talk smack about your fan base, bro. My bad. My bad. Oh, this video's gonna hit 1 million views for real. Oh no, Doothy has a big channel. I dyslexically read it wrong. Okay, but Doothy has 82,000 subscribers. But like, hear me out, okay? Doothy's most popular video is the re-upload at almost 1 million, which is great. But look at her other views, girls. She's the same as my channel. Like, you know what I'm saying? Some videos hit, but most of the videos are not hitting. So like, relax, okay? Like, I'm an adult. That's the only difference. Is like, I'm not afraid of a YouTube group chat because I'm 37 years old, almost 37. But Doothy has a sizable channel, but she's still a small creator. 80,000 subscribers is still small creator. Okay, so Doothy's audience is okay size, but most of her videos get 5 to 7, 12,000 views. Okay, Chad said she had way less subscribers when I watched yesterday. Okay, so they're probably new subscribers, right?
And I agree. And with that out of the way, I will.
Oh, I'll just tell you this too. Those subscribers are probably going to fall off. That's the problem with always talking about drama or trending stuff, is the viewers are only there to see you talk about the things they want to see. That lesbian's having this problem in the gaming community right now, where she wants to play a different game and her audience is like, but 63% of your views come from this game. She's like, well, then I'm going to lose those views. And that's the problem with being a creator, is that if you get famous talking about a certain topic, and then you stop talking about it, your channel will most likely die, which is why I try really hard to not fall into that. But yeah.
Actually give your critiques themselves the time of day. Because in addition to you straight up mistruthing for clicks.
All right, so I'm not on his side now. I'm not on his side right now.
Listen to this. Listen.
Yeah. I lost hundreds of subscribers. What the fuck? Hundreds of subscribers?
I know, like 100.
It's never fun.
It's like, it's not that serious, but also.
I'm gonna keep it real. It's never fun like to have also, people.
Instead of him processing that his audience agreed with Doothy's video and actually unsubscribed, he blamed Doothy. If I lost, not that I would care if I lost hundreds of subscribers, but if I came to work tomorrow and I lost 5,000 subscribers, I'd be like, what did I do? Did I do something wrong? Did I say something? The fact that he didn't even think that maybe I did something wrong is the point Doothy's trying to make. Did you maybe consider you did something wrong?
Talking shit about you that you can't avoid. Y'all see this video up here. I'm not gonna name names. Y'all see this motherfucker here, right? That I gave a little time to try to watch. This shit happens. This shit happens. And so I got that dude in my comment section. Not that dude.
Okay, listen to what FD is about to say. Why do I always say this to you? Why do I always say to YouTubers, if you watch my stuff, don't talk to me? Of course, there are YouTubers I actually do like and I would love to talk to. But how many men have I made content about and all of a sudden they're in my chat? Brittany, get on stream and talk to me. You've been there. You've been on the live streams where those boys see me talking about them and they get mad about it and then they go, debate me. Bro, why would I do this? Yes, it will be fun beef for a while. Yes, I'll make money. Yes, we'll grow our channels. Why would I even bother talking to you when I know it's bullshit? It's all for the clout. You know what I mean? But that's the thing. That's the thing that happens. And so I always I get DMs, I ignore them. Listen, unless I really respect you, I'm not DMing back with peace and love. Unless I really like your content, I'm not DMing back at this point in my life, okay?
That dude's fans in my comment section. The block game is strong. It's not fun to see people lie about you and you really can't say nothing. I get that. Mm-hmm. I'm with you on that. I might respond to a tweet here or two or a comment here or two. Never gonna respond with my actual algorithm on the line. But never have I been worried about losing a couple of hundred subscribers, even when I had a couple of hundred subscribers.
I agree.
These niggas did not lose a substantial amount of subscribers based off that video. That's cap. Yeah. So I'm just put that out there now. But moving on.
The idea that anyone would want to silence you for this video in which you say basically nothing is absurd.
The TikTokification of the bizarre deep divification rabbit hole retrospective.
God, I really am cute as a Muppet though.
I'm sure we've all come across
At
some
least he's
video that
letting
promises to be
being
some
clear that
grand
she kinda
intellectual
ate with
piece
it.
about the ification of an industrial complex, perhaps, but it ends up just being more reaction meme surface skimming light.
And by the way, can I say something? I don't watch video essays most of the time on my own. I like commentary style videos. Do These video I only watched on my own because my Discord said they really liked it and I was curious. And it was talking about YouTubers, which I love, by the way. But I would have watched the video whether she was sitting in her room talking or whether or not she made those Muppets. The fact that she put so much work into the video and it took her 8 months, it has no bearing on whether or not I would have watched it. But here's the thing. I am not most YouTube watchers. Most YouTube watchers are more likely to stay on a video that they believe the creator has put more effort into. Or on the absolute opposite side, has put no effort into because that looks like they're real people now. So I have to remember that as a person who consumes content as much as I do it for the love of the game. I love YouTube the way people love music, and I love music too. But you know what I mean? Like, watching YouTube is like saying I listen to the radio all day. I love this stuff. So and I have a very autistic, neurodivergent audience, and I just want to say, I love you guys. You will never make me rich. You will never make me popular. You would have to be fans, which most of my audience is not. You would have to be like very into the creator. You would have to build a parasocial relationship with me in order to then send your fave to everybody, make videos, make TikToks. Like, this is the thing that I want people to understand. So my job as a creative to have this job is to say my audience is never going to be the reason, because I'm not going to build the kind of audience that would make me famous. Right? Okay. Chet said, don't blame us. Blame YouTube for real. It's become awful. It's not YouTube, because Habibis, I'm not blaming you. The only reason Mr. Beast is famous is because of his fans and the people he pays to make content. Okay. What's the Indian streamer who's really, really famous? He has 2,000 people who clip his videos. 2,000 clippers. Do you process what I'm saying? I'm saying you have to be the kind of audience that is involved in your creator to promote your creator. And the same way small bands were like, hey, share my CD with your friends. Share my CD with your friends. Except I don't have a CD to give you. And what's worse is I've had people tell me, oh, Britt, you're kind of like my guilty pleasure channel to help myself. If I share your channel with other people, they're going to know I'm going through some shit. They're going to know I'm on a philosophical journey. Absolutely fair. Which is why this group of people taking offense to being called slop content is hilarious, because you're safe content. You know what I mean? You're safe content, okay? So yes, I agree with you. Sometimes I feel like I'm trying to actually teach you something and you might be hearing it as Brittany's complaining. I'm actually trying to tell you how the world works. Like, I know you think you know how the world works, but as a person who does this and is showing you behind the curtain, I'm telling you it's not what you think it is. It's like, this is what I'm trying to say is so hard though, because like, I have to learn how it works all the time too. That's what FD is doing right now. FD is pulling the curtain behind a little bit and he's saying, and people aren't going to believe him. And again, maybe we shouldn't even tell you. Maybe we should be like every other YouTuber that doesn't tell you anything, because we know it's going to be upsetting to hear it. Because it's the same thing about billionaires in society. Nobody wants to hear they're the reason Jeff Bezos is a billionaire. But how could Jeff Bezos have gotten so popular if we all didn't love Prime one-day shipping? Why did his business take a 10-year hit of, quote, no money? Why does Uber and all of these businesses follow the same pattern? And then we wonder, okay, like, that's what I'm saying. People were like, Brittany, how'd you stop shopping at Amazon? How'd you stop doing Prime? Exactly. The fact that there are people on YouTube who have to make videos about getting rid of Amazon is Jeff Bezos' whole plan. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. So again, it's not about, oh, I want to be famous. It's about understanding that I'm never going to be famous under this structure because I'm not willing to do what it takes, but you should question who is famous. That's why people don't like Hassan Piker. He's too damn famous for a leftist, which we'll get into with this video. So FD Signifier was on a collaboration with Dr. Ball, a man named Bill, and Deculturation. And Deculturation was bringing up some really great points and criticisms to FD during this whole discussion. It was really good. But one part in particular, he goes after Hassan in particular points, but this point is about Noah Samsen, which I didn't even think about, but he's right about. That this kind of stuff is the stuff that I am like, I raise an eyebrow, and I'm trying to be very cautious about how I talk about things as well. But listen to this criticism that Deculturation has for Noah Samsen.
Look, I know he's your homie FD, but like Noah Samsen's video, his thumbnail with it's him and Palestine destroyed behind him and like a Palestinian child starving. Like every time I see that thumbnail, it enrages me, bro, because I understand like the algorithm and all this stuff and the thumbnails and you got to put your face out there. But like, dude, like what's wrong with you? Like how sick and distant do you have to be from like any sense of dignity and respect, you know, to put that out there and not have a second thought about it. So I understand where Bill is coming from in terms of like these profiteering individuals. Hassan Piker claiming that, oh, if you're Zionist, if you ever had any Zionist sentiment, you shouldn't even be the local dog catcher. And he's taking off his shirt to give a pin to liberal Zionist Bernie Sanders. Like Bernie is a Zionist through and through. He was worshiping Golda Meir, who used chemical weapons in the West Bank. He opposes a single state with equal rights, which is still like a liberal ass position. Like that's how devoted he is to the Zionist project. So there's opportunists, white opportunists. I don't do that spicy white shit. They're white everywhere. And I understand that. I get that. And we should combat that. We should be calling them out for normalizing liberal Zionism. But man, in terms of like trying to, first of all, I don't like the term Jewish supremacist, because it's like, it takes away from like the importance of understanding and combating Zionism.
Okay, so this is them calling out FD for sort of like tiptoeing around the like Zionism stuff and anti-Jewish stuff, and FD's worry obviously about being associated with white supremacy. I get it. But Noah Samsen, okay, here's Noah Samsen's videos. Here it is. So I was like, oh, which thumbnail is it? I'm scrolling. You almost like, you can't tell because the thumbnails are just like everywhere. But eventually you come to the realization that there really is a starving baby in one of these thumbnails. And it's exactly the picture I've showed on my stream that I would never put in a thumbnail. Is this one right here. On the very left side of it, it's a mother holding her starving child. Okay. And I remember when we watched this video on stream, and I remember telling myself like, oh yeah, like we're not gonna feature this picture. Hold on, I lost it. I had it and then I lost it. Oh my God. I lost it again. I was trying to zoom in. It's this one right here. It's like, okay, right? I see what deculturation is trying to say. And I do think like there's something there that I think is important. Then I do think it ultimately plays into like the idea of this like slop content, or this content that's like a little bit turn off your brain, like, or the fact that Noah Samsen is taking probably a financial hit for sure, making these videos. And also it's great that he's bringing so much attention to Palestine. And I think that's also plays into the Bad Empanada parts of it, or getting into fights with Bad Empanada. So, okay, check this out. So then there's this video here, same collaboration, where FD tries to explain like getting into fights with creators and how it's a distraction. Like, I don't like Bad Empanada. I've been very like clear about that, and people get mad about that because he's so anti-Zionist. They think I'm saying I'm not anti-Zionist, but just because Bad Empanada is right on one topic doesn't mean he's right on every topic. And I don't like him. I do not need to like him. The same thing with Hassan. Forcing me to like these men is patriarchal and fucked up, first of all. But like, I don't like them and I don't have to like them. They're content creators. There are other people doing other work that I like and I prefer. And also, and I think this is important, is that like Bad Empanada and a lot of these people are white, and they're kind of like playing POC in a very like malicious way that I think is very hard to explain. Deculturation does it really well. But like, it's like why I don't sit here and call myself a brown woman. Yes, I'm Assyrian, but I'm not a brown woman. You know what I mean? I'm not a black woman. I'm not existing in the world in white supremacy with black or brown skin. Like, yes, when people see me, they might think I'm Jewish or they might think I'm something else. But like, I'm not pretending. I'm not grooming myself in a particular way. I'm not showing up in a particular way. I'm not allowing people to believe something about me that isn't true, right? And so when these people show up and they show up the way that they do, and they sort of like, of course they're the ones being more platformed or more accepted or more, they're comfortable enough for white centrists to start being anti-Zionist and pro-Palestine, but they're too uncomfortable for like, or more brown or black people would be too uncomfortable for those same people to get into it. Do you know what I'm saying? That's what I'm trying to get. Like, that's what I'm trying to get people to understand is like, the reason you show up matters. Like the reason you might be or are popular matters. And the same, you know what I mean? Okay, so listen to this.
Brains and manipulating their behavior. And what you all are talking about, first off, are things we do. I want to just make sure that's understood. What you just described, Dr. Ball, is what myself, Bill, and others do consistently when it's time to discuss a Candace Owens, a Jasmine Crockett, insert person here. The thing that I'm trying to get people to understand is that regardless of how it's done and the gentleness, the merit, the narrow focus of that aspect, the algorithm and these tools of the masters will still move in specific ways to emphasize the worst possible outcomes to a critique.
Correct.
So perfect example is when Bad and Panada first responded to Lil Bill, Lil Bill was about to respond, and I said,
okay, Lil Bill's another content creator, of course, and FD has given this advice to many people because he himself has had run-ins himself.
Listen, I understand your desire to respond, but understand this: if you respond to Bad and Panada, y'all are forever tied at the hip.
Which is why I make a concerted effort not to reply or get into YouTube beef with anybody unless I respect them. But this is why. Because, like, if you start beefing with a creator, this is why I didn't beef with Destiny. Like, I know people think or they don't understand how much money I could have made beefing with Destiny. But I am already, the 1 year I spent in that space is like forever a part of my reputation, okay? If I beefed with him, I would have just been another beefing YouTuber, which is why Hassan doesn't beef with Destiny either, though I do think his willingness to talk to Asmin is crazy, okay? You have to be careful with who you're beefing with because the beef is also representation of you. So beef responsibly.
From that response on this.
I like that.
You
That's
like that.
Let's go.
Right.
Let's go. We wedded in hate. We walked down the aisle together. Let's go, right. Goddammit. I hear wedding bells on a daily basis out this piece.
I do.
But you understand, though, that breeds dysfunction.
Now, okay, Chet says, see, this is the reason why I'm on FD. He caps harder for Noah and Hassan than he does for black women. And I understand the specific politics that makes him do so, but others don't. For sure. I think, like, even FD's been in my chat, and I've been critical of FD. I do think FD makes one specific man mistake that I consistently see from him. And that is, and this is, I think Deculturation probably has a similar critique, but is I find he allows Hassan to use him as a black guy approves of me trope card. And it throws the women under the bus who are critical of Hassan. Because when women are critical of Hassan, especially black women, Hassan goes, FD approves of me. Look, FD saying something nice about me. He always brings up FD. And I'm like, and so what FD unknowingly is doing, because FD doesn't watch the streams. He always says he's a dad, he's got kids, he's busy. He's not missing the thing that's happening. He's not seeing how he's being used to give Hassan credit for the black community against black women or black men. You know what I'm saying? So like, I don't think FD's doing it on purpose. I think it's an accident because he's so busy. He coming into this debate or this discussion, girls, he literally said, I haven't watched anyone's content. He's too busy. He has a life. This man has children. Okay? Because he's not chronically online like the rest of us, he's missing why Hassan is weaponizing this clip of him. And he's missing the social so like, that's the only thing that gets frustrating for me where I'm like, stop giving Hassan any kind of thumbs up. Because when he's under so much heat, okay, like that's what I'm saying is like okay, that's the biggest criticism I have of FD. But I also, it'd be different, I think, if he was chronically online, then I'd be like, but he's not chronically online. So he doesn't know. And also, I'm coming from the woman perspective, obviously, not the Black community perspective, but I do think Hassan is weaponizing it.
You know, so that's a toxic marriage. The children
But real
don't
quick,
thrive under that.
but one other contradiction to this fame piece that I
And to be fair, FDOA says he's not as leftist in the same exact ways as people like deculturation, as an example. Like, I think, and that's the other part of it that we have to contend with too, which is fair. Like, he always feels like he does think leftism is good with capitalism being first, because he thinks that under socialism or communism, it would be easier to fight racism, which is fine. But that is, you know, a belief he said recently a lot when talking about Plattner and other people.
do want to bring up and put us a little bit on the spot for, and a little bit of a shout out, is that, and I get it, I'm often critical of certain levels of popularity and the performance that it requires. But at the same time, as it's just happened this morning, when organizers on behalf of political prisoners like Mumia want to get word out, and they want to be able to reach people with platforms the size that you have, and your willingness to do it, as you've already agreed, and I'm calling you out on publicly, is again part of that conundrum. Like, if you don't grow your platform to the size that it is and do the things that you have to do to get there, then they don't have the outlet that they need, or that they feel that they need, for this next push that's about to start next week. So it's like, so that's why I try to, let me just say a couple more things, because I want to get to the point, because I wanted to say one more thing real quick about this. So, all right, so that contradiction is real. And this is why, Carlos, and I'll just skip to the one bit of criticism I had for you, is that, and I admit that this has become a tactic for me more in my old age, is that part of what your criticism of Bill, I felt did go over the line in the moment of.
Okay, pause. This is a really good discussion overall. If you guys haven't seen it, and I can go ahead and I'll just share it. It's a good, you know why it's a good discussion? Because the men on the panel are all left, and they're all genuinely trying to understand each other. Okay? Like, there is a genuine, it's timestamped, so ignore that. Just watch from the beginning. But they are trying to understand each other. Okay? It really is like they're critical. They have judgments. They have disagreements. And by the end of the conversation, it's really nice. It's a really nice conversation. And you see where everyone is at. Okay? And that's what I would love for the future. I would love a stream or a collaboration or a scene with people where I'm like, we disagree, and I'm not sure what to do with that. Instead of this back and forth and group chat and Duthie did this and Mark did this and so did this. It's like, girl. Okay, hold on. Let's watch this, because at the very end, he says something I want you to see.
Lighthearted commentary instead of actual substance. I want to highlight
of the overconsumptionification of the TikTokification video essay, but then turned out to be surface level commentary. Well, let me put up my title and thumbnail for that video, and I'll let you all decide if I was signaling with that this was a substantive.
Okay, so 250,000 views. People are going insane for a white tank top. Yeah, like, listen, it's a 16-minute video that probably made him $1,500, right? So the reason she's criticizing you, it's because if you're putting out videos that are 8 to 15 minutes long on a trending topic, it is a money grab. That's the criticism. The criticism is you could possibly have nothing good to say if you are only talking about trending topics in order to beat the algorithm, in order to get what people, because that's what people want. When I say algorithm, guys, I also mean you. Trending topics means you're interested in it. That's why you're Googling it. That's the goal. The goal of Andrew Tate, the goal of these people is to be trending. So when people make something trending, like clavicular, it's saying that's what you want. You're making him popular. So when people say, why is this guy even popular? Because I feel like you still don't understand Trump as president. Why is Trump president? Because he was popular. Like, not popular from a voting base from the way you understand it, but he was everywhere. He was everywhere in my childhood. He was writing books. He was on every TV show. He was on Sex and the City. He was on Home Alone. He was everywhere. He was famous. Fine. You know what? Fine. Not popular. Famous. He was famous. Kim Kardashian and Paris Hilton, the way they got famous was making sure to show up at every club with paparazzi to make sure they were in photos no matter what. They are famous. And then because they're famous, you want to know who they are, and the cycle continues. Again, the way YouTubers get famous is by making sure their face is everywhere. So when people see them, they go, why do I keep seeing this guy? Why is this guy everywhere? That's why people pay people to clip, or why fans clip their favorites, because they want their favorite to be everywhere on your feed. Okay. And that's how people get famous. Because, okay, and then they get famous, and then people go, oh, you're famous? Come on my podcast. I don't even know who you are, but come on my podcast. Because you're famous. And if I interview you, I'll be famous. And the cycle continues, and the cycle continues, and the cycle continues. Okay, it's like being popular in high school. Popular, you were well known. You had status. There's a hierarchy. And in America, in capitalism, the status is subscribers, viewership, status, invites to places, money. And of course, who you're dating. Okay?
Serious video essay that Duthie.
So FD was right. No matter how much Mark feels like it's just a bunch of people in a group chat, the point is like, can I get in that group chat? Oh, so the group chat is exclusive. Who's in the group chat? Why are you in a group chat? Would this group chat have existed if you weren't all YouTubers? No. So the group chat exists because you're YouTubers, and you guys are popular YouTubers, and you're hanging out together, and you're spending your time talking about a small creator who's way small. You know what I mean? Okay.
Was about to watch. As a matter of fact, let me play the first 10 seconds of this video, and you tell me if a reasonable person would assume that they were just sitting down for an intellectual masterclass. What's up, folks?
Nice pump, honestly.
Come on, man.
And the reason I chose this video is not to drag this creator specifically,
Well, it kind of feels like I'm being dragged specifically.
but it's because he's
Okay. And I believe him. I think his feelings are hurt. And I think that means he's not self-aware of the content he makes. So how can he say, I make slop, I make fun content, and then be mad she said that you make fun content? So you agree with her that you make brain rot content that's fun to watch. I'm telling you, his ego is hurt. The same people who make this content are upset they make the content, but like, girly, just say, yeah, that's the kind of content I make. But the problem is like, people are watching this content and thinking it's well-researched, well-formulated content, whether he wants to believe it or not. That is what's happening. Like when you guys were like, Brittany, watch Film Cooper. And I watched Film Cooper and I was like, why do you guys like this? And people were like, no, I really like him. And I was like, yeah, but this isn't like good commentary. He's just a bully. This is just brain rot, which is fine. There's nothing wrong. Again, I don't care if it's brain rot. I love brain rot. Okay? I literally watch TikToks with AI voiceovers telling me what the movie Twilight is about, even though it's always wrong. It's so funny and I watch them. I love brain rot. I just wouldn't send it to somebody and say, this is a really in-depth analysis of the Twilight movies.
said something really interesting twice throughout the video, breaking the fourth wall.
Now, okay, so I want to hold him here because he's not that much bigger than her. He's 170K subs, and her video is about to hit.
Yeah, but his views do way better than her views. I think FD's a little old school here, and forgive him for being an old person, but subscriber count, view count's what's getting you paid. Subscriber count is what's getting you noticed. View count is what's getting you paid. He is making an incredibly amazing amount more money than her. Okay?
1 million views in the next couple of weeks. I'm not going to hold him for wanting to respond. And here's a lesson I had to learn the hard way. When you mention someone's name in content, there's no way to do that with care. Who the fuck are these people? Bellamy, I'm finding out just.
I like that idea that if you mention someone's name in content, there's no way to do it with care. Yeah, I think there's a part of that. I do. I think we'd like to say that we're doing it with care. We'd like to say we're being nice and compassionate, but either like it is really hard to do it. And so I acknowledge that and I accept it, right? Like, which is why I say I look forward to the day that I am so respected in this space, people make critique videos of me. Because even though nobody in this space, everybody in this space knows me, but nobody makes content about me, could either be seen as a good sign or be seen as a bad sign eventually. Because like if I'm not getting any critique, like, or any commentary, maybe, not that Elliot Saying needs to be critiqued, but I mean, I do watch Elliot Saying, and Elliot Saying knows who I am, that he watches me. So like maybe it's not critique so much, but it is like, but maybe, yeah, because you don't want to get so big in your ego that you never get critiqued, but maybe it's not even the critique, it's an expansion, you know, something like that. So, you know, but it's a different bubble. Elliot, me, FD, Contra, maybe not Contra, she's kind of a baby. Hassan, he's kind of a baby too. You know, other people. We're in a space where like we see criticism and we're like, cool, are we expanding ideas? As long as it's good faith. I think the commentary channels that make fun content, they'd be so confused about why you were talking about them. Because they're like, what's happening? You know what I mean? Something like that. Something like that.
As quickly as you. You can be as respectful and nice and positive as you want. If you mention someone's name in content, in any way criticize them.
Okay, chat says terms like brain rot and slop feel loaded and ambiguous, and they come across insulting, especially if they're genuinely tried. Especially if they genuinely tried. Yeah, like people used to say that about reality TV, like, oh, it's bad content. Why do you watch it? Look, I love some reality TV. Is it the best quality content? No. You know, call it whatever you want to call it. There is a hierarchy to it. It's not good content, but it's great content. But it's not good. Like, no one is going to die if Love is Blind wasn't made. No one's going to die if all of these commentary channels disappear. To be fair, though, and this is my greatest part of my thesis today, I would argue that all of it could go away and it wouldn't matter. So all of the work we've ever created, every piece of music, every piece of art could go away and it still wouldn't matter. We could all disappear and it still wouldn't matter. The mattering is a construct created by us. Period. So if you are a creative and you're making work, you have to be wise enough to know what you're making. And if you aren't wise enough to know what you're making, then you certainly are making slop. Because it feels like very weird to say, I'm a creative. I spent my blood, sweat, and tears. I put so much effort into this thing, and I don't know what I made. Do you know what you've made? He says out of one side of his mouth, it is a fun video. And on the other side of his mouth, I don't want to be critiqued for just making fun videos. But that's what you're making while getting the social, some sort of social credit of being one of the good ones. Because you're associated with a group of people who are also known as the good ones. Of course you're the good ones. You have the most basic takes of basic human decency, and everyone gives you flowers for it. And I'm saying your basic take about basic human decency is slop. It's okay. It's good. It's like when you're dating a guy and he's like, I don't hit women. What do you mean? I don't hate women. I don't hit them. As if hitting women is the only way to hate them. And I'm saying it's not good enough next to and in the bubble in which we are critiquing at a higher level, because the critique now changes. If I created a piece of art and we were critiquing it against another piece of art created with very technical skill, and someone said, oh, Brittany, you're drawing on face paint, on MS Paint, it's not as good as this other technical piece of art. I don't get to say, oh, but art is subjective, and who gets to decide what's good art? We're judging it through a lens of technicality, so there are rules. Same thing with YouTube commentary. If Doothy says, here is where my criticism is coming from, here's why I'm critiquing you, here's the videos that I think fit in this category, okay? It's like you know, when you go through a phase of, I don't listen to pop music, I listen to only indie bands. It's like, I listen to all music, even music you think is trash. But let me just tell you this, if you asked me which song was a good song, we'd be having different conversations. Okay, if you ask me like, is this a good book? We'd be having different conversations. What do you mean by good? What do you mean by book? Okay, so Doothy's criticism was from a very specific lens, and within the context of that lens, I think she was generally correct.
You are creating a negative force going towards them. And as I showed y'all, what was the dude's name? Akumaku, the Attack on Titan dude, which by the
Hold on. He's gonna
agreeing with you or up on a video and it's somebody else talking about.
There's a timestamp and he forwards it and
my guy here, whenever your face pops up on a video and it's somebody else talking about you and they're not agreeing with you or just quoting you or something, it's never fun. And so I don't begrudge people for wanting to defend themselves. I just always warn people that whenever you get into online beef.
Did you see how I handled James from Do Not Worry? I had only seen a part of his stream where he talked about me. I kind of like flipped through the stream because I went to his content. Okay, here's something I do that I know other content creators don't do, but I do it now for a reason, obviously. Before I did the collaboration of Do Not Worry through Anthony, I looked up his co-host to try to see their content, to see what they were doing. And I got somewhat of a picture. They're on the left. Okay. I went that same day to James's channel to see what he was doing, and I saw me on it. And I was like, oh, it's me. So I clicked on it and I went through and I just clicked like this to see what he was saying. And he was pretty critical of me. And I was like, okay. And then I came to that stream and I did that collaboration and I said, James, go ahead. And James had a lot of questions for me and I answered them and I thought I did a really good job. And at the end of it, I think we saw each other a little bit better, but it required him being good faith and it required me not being defensive. And it required me also staying in my lane. So what I've perfected as a creator, what I know I can perfect moving forward with collaborations is staying in my lane. So if somebody asks me, Brittany, what do you think the DNC should do? I don't know. I'm not in politics. Would you like to ask me a philosophical question? Like instead of when I used to do panels, I would try to talk about everything when it obviously wasn't my lane, because most of the panels that are created in these debate spaces are absolutely not even people with special interests. It's just they email you. They message you and go, hey, Britt, I saw your channel. Do you know anything about this topic? Would you like to come debate? That's all that happens behind the closed doors, guys. That's it. Okay? And then you say yes or no.
All you're doing is getting married in the eyes of the algorithm. And you can't control, no matter how much you say don't do X, Y, and Z thing, people are going to do X, Y, and Z thing. You can't control people's behavior in the aftermath. You can only control when you upload. All right.
All he says.
And since I still have to run at least 5 more minutes in this video, let's go deeper. Let's trace the origins of this contagion for no other reason than I need to stretch this video out for watch time.
I'm sorry. Is it illegal to be hilarious now?
Now, this creator is what I like to call the surface, rather than actually going deeper down a rabbit hole.
Nah, nigga, we know it. It's funny, but it's also lampshading. We'll come back to it.
I made a 15-minute long video about a dumb TikTok trend that, as you play back, I myself repeat throughout the video, I think is silly and dumb. I would respect you telling me that if I don't think it's important, then I shouldn't make the video, which I would also disagree with. I think entertainment and having fun can be, it's a means to an end of itself. But instead,
So you make stupid content. Or you make low brow content. Or you make turn your brain off. That's what I'm saying. Don't do this to me. Don't be like, oh, I'm a comedian. I'm just a comedian. Okay, so you make content that's meant to relieve me of thinking. Do you know what I'm saying? Just own what she's saying about you so we can move the fuck on. So what kind of content do you make? Do you make serious content? Because the critique needs to be even more serious now. Or do you make slap content? Listen to me. Listen to me. If I could, I would make this content. And I would rake in the money and I would fucking go home. But I can't because it feels stupid to me. I feel stupid getting on the internet and being like, hey guys, like there's a white t-shirt thing. This is trending. Let me talk about it to make a quick 1,000. You know what I'm saying? You think if I could do it, I would. But I feel like my brain is melting. So just so you know, when I cover content, it's because I find it actually stimulating. Like I'm like, oh, this is interesting. Oh, we can connect this to philosophy. But I would never make a video about something that I genuinely was like, this is so stupid. Let's talk about it. What? Okay, what?
you argue that I should have stretched the video even longer by turning it into a TikTokification of the tank topification video essay, which is also slop, Doothy. And, you yourself make fun of it in this video.
Yeah, he just didn't get it. He completely missed her point.
So,
all right, I'm with him here. I'm kind of with him here. This is my criticism of the video. So, and it's not me criticizing like to be negative.
Look, Doothy's video is not original, one of a kind, and the universe could have done without it. And yet, okay, I don't think that's what she's saying. I think what she's saying is, would you have made this video in this way specifically? Like, okay, no. Why do you make videos? Start there. Why do you make videos? Why should someone watch you? Okay, I am asking of you for multiple hours of your day. I am making a huge request of human beings to say, for up to 6 hours of your precious limited time on earth, would you like to watch me review YouTube videos? I don't think he's thinking about it that way. I think he's thinking, what's popular, what's trending, how do I do this for a living so I don't have to go get a different job? I don't even know if he considers himself an artist. Okay? When I asked James on Do Not Worry podcast, I asked James, like, why do you make content? What are you doing here? And his initial answer was, oh, I wanted to talk politics, but nobody in my life would talk with me. So I made a YouTube channel. And I said, but that's not really why you stream, right? That's not why you're willing to put your face out here and tell the world who your opinions. Like, there must be a deeper reason. And he goes, yeah, I guess so. I guess when you say it like that. Okay. There must be a real reason why we do what we do. And I'm saying that Duthie obviously has a philosophy, a belief. She's very passionate about this thing. Mark, I don't know why he makes what he does, except it's easy and it's a pattern, right? It's like money making. Okay, I'm saying, why do you do what you do? Okay, I love the content I make. I'm so privileged to be able to make it for a living. I know what I'm doing here, but it also took me a lot of time to realize that. It took me years of being on YouTube to really say, Brittany, what do you want to do on the internet? I knew I wanted to be creative. I knew I wanted to talk about real issues. I just didn't know in which way it would feel good enough for me to show up and be authentic. Okay, most of the YouTube people I talk to, like, or used to talk to, they're not thinking like that. They're literally like, Brittany, this is how you go viral. Brittany, this is how you cause more drama to get money. Brittany, this is how you end up on FYP pages. And I'm like, you guys are stressing me out. And they're like, don't you want that though? Don't you want that? And I'm like, I want to make a living making art I like. And they're like, so you want to be famous? And I was like, I want to make a living making art I like. That's all I want. Whatever happens around that, that's fine. But like, that's all I want to do. Versus these people are like, I want to be famous and I want to be rich. You see how this is different on the Manosphere documentary? The guy said, I could never be this rich and successful if I was a good person. He wants to be rich and successful, famous first. And I'm saying, I want to create art for a living first. And I'm doing that. I am doing the dream. You know what I mean?
Towards what she's feeling, it's critiquing just to hopefully help her better understand the problem that she feels like she's seeing.
Chad said it does seem chronically stressful to play the game of YouTube. I really don't believe it's any more stressful than any other job. I think all jobs that you're actually seriously looking at as a career are just as stressful. I don't know any of my friends who have a real career that aren't as stressed about their career as my career. If it's a job, you have a different kind of stress, but working is stressful. Putting food on your table is stressful. And most of us, you know what I mean? Like, we're not even, we're not making that kind of money. Right?
She's smart now. You know what? I'm going to use myself. You know, one of the compliments that I love getting the most
this is the last point.
Radical niggas.
Okay, listen to this. This is the last point.
One of the compliments that I love getting the most is when radical niggas tell me they used to watch me. It's when I meet someone engaged in like real political action or real political education or real political organizing, and they say they used to watch me. Shout out to the homie CJ the Radical. If you on TikTok at all and you
shout out to CJ,
follow like the hardcore political spaces, then you might know CJ. When I talked to CJ, he basically said, I used to watch you, and then as I kept going, you were not radical enough for me, so I moved beyond you. Damn it, that means I'm doing my job.
For sure.
If I got you to think about capitalism differently or class differently or anything differently because you watched me talk about black villains for an hour and a half, if you heard me talk about old school hip hop or incels or interracial relationships or Black Panther, if I introduce you to Pan-Africanist scientific socialism and real Pan-Africanist thought in a video about a Disney product, and you was like, oh, I fucks with this nigga. But like after a couple more videos, you was like, you know what? I just finished reading Fanon. I just finished reading George Jackson, and you not really like in there like I need you to be in there. And so you went beyond me to the point where my surface level, entry level shit doesn't quite do it for you.
See how FD is being self-aware and therefore he's humble and therefore he's intelligent. He's wise. He's a good person. You don't pedestal him, but you can look at him like I don't want to say leader, but like, because he says he's self-aware. He knows what he's making. It's very important. I try to do this in my work as well. I try to be very self-aware about what I'm doing, what I am making, what my hope is, where I want people to go. Okay. How I want them to watch my content and eventually grow out of my content if that's where they need to be, right? Or do whatever they're meant to do. But like, it's like being a teacher. It feels like we're the teachers forgive me, but like we're the teachers and we keep getting a new class of ninth graders. And then the seniors are like, hey, I want to take your class, but like I already did this in ninth grade. Yeah, you already did it in ninth grade, Habibi. You don't have to repeat your grade. It's time to graduate. But what they miss is us. They miss the nostalgia. You ever visit a teacher from high school? You kind of miss the nostalgia of being with that teacher in that class or with your classmates. Yeah, like we have to stay here because our class is always changing. You get to grow. So even though in my personal life I'm growing, as a creative, we have to stay in a very specific niche because that's just what we're doing. I will be answering the same philosophical questions for the next 30 years. Eventually, you will outgrow listening to me on stream talk about free will. And that's okay. Okay? I have to keep answering it. I have to keep answering like, what is laziness? What do you mean it's a construct? Which I'm happy to answer. At the end of stream, I'll take Q&A. Okay? But like, I'm happy to answer that 1,000 times. But eventually, for the daily watchers, you will get sick of watching me repeat the same thing. You'll feel like Brittany is always having the same conversation on stream every day. Yeah. Or maybe not. Maybe you'll be a 30-year watcher like on finance channels. Like, how many people have been listening to Dave Ramsey for 35, 40 years and he's still talking about the same shit? Because for some of us, we like the consistency. We like hearing the same thing for 35 years. So some of you will stay and that's going to be beautiful too. Right?
Anymore because you're doing real work. That's a huge compliment to me. YouTube is designed to the point where I have 1.2 million subscribers, right? But 200, 300,000 of those subs haven't watched me in a year. It's just the nature of the beast.
Exactly.
Yeah, I would appreciate if niggas didn't shit on me for making surface level shit. Cause those are people that haven't quite figured out their fucking role in this shit yet. Like that would be nice. You know what I'm saying? And this is very much a Gen Z, Gen Alpha thing. Cause I don't know who any of these motherfuckers are. This is like going back and being like,
well, you know, Sesame Street was actually really low level intellectually. Its quality does not intellectually stimulate me anymore.
You're an adult.
Actually, wait, I thought about that with Disney movies where a bunch of people in their 40s was like, Disney's just not the same. Habibi, you're not 5 years old. You're not the demographic. Hello? They're like, Disney movies just don't hit the way they used to. Are you 7? Are you 10 years old? Okay, you need to sit down. Literally all these people talk about Disney doesn't hit. You're 40.
Now, TikTok nonsense isn't as entertaining to you. So hearing people analyze TikTok to you is trivial and mundane, and it should be. But to like some 15-year-old that's trying to make sense of the world, that's trying to avoid getting sucked into like an alt-right pipeline or some red pill shit, or basic consumerism, or is dealing with identity issues, or trying to avoid getting sucked into a fad or a trend, the TikTokification of such a citation of representation might be a really important video for that 14-year-old.
Exactly.
So don't shit on it. That's shitty. Don't shit on that video. Don't shit on the people making that content. Yeah, it's slop. Yeah, this dude, Mark Insko, is a slop tuber. He is. Ooh. But it means something to the people who are at this stage of the game, which is most people.
Okay, pause. This is the criticism FD does get from a lot of people where because he's worked with kids, because he has children, because he knows better and he's right, everyone's at a different stage. So the thing is, and this is what one of my friends told me this, because she watches like a lot of the YouTubers too, and she knows what's up. She was like, your job is to criticize people and their job is to keep making the content they're making. Because as we grow at different stages, we will criticize, but this is the game. So FD will come in as kind of dad, and he'll say, stop fighting. Okay, you're right and you're right. You're wrong and you're wrong. Be nice to each other. And then I'll show up in the background and be like, boo, I actually agree with Duthi more. And then Elliot's like, look, I don't even like Duthi, but also like, did she say anything that bad? And then everyone else is in the background like, actually, and we're all like, boo. And then like, that's the point. Is we're all in this big fucking not consensual relationship because like we all exist together at the same company. But like, that's the part of it that's just so human of us. Okay, and that's what I'm saying. Everyone's playing a role. FD's playing his, I'm playing mine. Everyone's playing a role. Okay, and the question is, do you know the role you are playing? Because if you do not learn it, you will be confused when someone criticizes your videos or has input or sees your video in a way that you don't see it. And you're like, wait, that's what you think about my work? And it's like, yeah, did you not know that's how people see your work? That is how we see your work. So I always try to be aware of how people are seeing my work, how it comes across, and if I feel satisfied with how people are seeing my work. Honestly, right now, yes. Even when I'm like, guys, do you not understand what I'm saying? Know that I am getting such positive reinforcement and feedback that I feel good about it. And I love to hear your criticisms, and I really enjoy our back and forths. I think it's really, really amazing. And I want you to keep it coming, okay?